Hello everyone. Good evening from India. Okay, so it's good evening here. Uh, so so this, as you know, this is a webinar for firewall mastery where we would cover 5 courses, 5 different track. So I'll walk through on all the complete curriculum. What are we going to cover? What are the labs and many more topics which I can demonstrate in today's webinar. So I'm going to keep a short demo today. It would be 1 to 1.5 hour, not max to that. Okay. So before I move on, let me introduce myself. My name is Sagar Dhawan. I'm consultant and trainer for this batch. I have more than 10 years of industry experience, and my skill sets are DevNet, Python, Ansible automation, security, and enterprise. And I've been training for last 4 to 5 years. And I would be taking this module as well for you guys. Okay. And this is the curriculum. This is how the outlines would be. We are starting with FortiGate Firewall on 4th of May. Every Saturday, Sunday. It will be. It will take us 1 month. 1 month, that is approximate to 30 to 35 hours to complete one module. Then we'll go to second module, and then towards the third, and so on. Okay. So this is the hierarchy. So we will first start with FortiGate, then to Palo Alto, Cisco Ace FTD, F5 load balancer, and then checkpoint. Okay. So in a next 3 to 4 months, you would be expertised in 5 top technology that most of people demand these days in network security domain. Yeah, sorry. This is 4th of June. Okay, my bad. That is next Saturday. So next Saturday is the FortiGate that we are starting. Okay, so let's proceed further. All right. So before I start with the curriculum, I will take 2 minutes for you guys to introduce yourself. Just let me know where are you attending this webinar from, and are you working already in a security domain, or this is going to be your first time over on the security domain, and is this track something interest you? Okay, just 2 to 3 minutes, and then we will walk through the presentation. So yes, you can unmute yourself and give me a brief intro. Are you new to security, or you have worked previously here?
Mohammad Isaf here, working as a network and security engineer. Already working on FortiGate and load balancer.
Okay, which module are you looking from this batch?
Uh, might be Paloalto and checkpoint.
Okay, okay. All right. Yeah, thank you.
I'm working in Oman, not in
Uh,
India.
Oh, okay. I see. Okay. Yes. So who is going next? Yes. I
You're
think
not audible.
I think there is some audio issue, Ignacio, your side.
Am I audible?
Yeah, you're now.
Okay. Yes. I've been working for several years, taking care of I've taken care of F5s, and now I'm taking care of ASAs and Palo Alto for the last 2-3 years. And I just wanted to get a little more mastery of the checkpoints as and it's just all the 5 products that you're covering, just to make sure I have a good lab and understanding of all 5 product lines.
Yeah. Okay. Sure, Ignacio.
And I think I signed up for the class, not just
Yeah. Yes. I'm aware of it. Yes.
yeah.
Yeah.
Okay.
Thanks.
And thank you again for hosting this class for us.
Yes, guys. So anyone else who wants to brief yourself?
Hello everyone, My name is Syed Tahir Mahmood, and I'm based in Saudi Arabia. So I have worked on the Sophos firewall previously. Basically, it's not my primary domain. So I'm working as a system admin in the current times. So I'm looking for F5 load balancer and Palo Alto.
Okay. Yes. All right. So anyone else before I move on, because we can have a discussion at the end as well. Okay.
Yes. Hi everyone. My name is Mickey Gibson. I'm in the USA, NYC, and I'm an audio and video engineer. And as you mentioned also, these 5 topics that you have here are very important in today's security realm. So I am learning more for Cisco, and I'm happy to welcome the rest of the modules as well, because they're all covered under security. So I'm here for the learning. Nice to meet everyone.
Yes. Thanks, Mikey.
You're welcome.
Hello, I'm Doug. I'm a network engineer and based out of Denver, Colorado. My interest is in the Palo Alto.
Okay. Sure.
Good morning, good afternoon, good evening, everyone. My name is Tennessee Davis. I'm in Philadelphia. I'm a system engineer, and I'm interested in all the domains you have. Thank you.
Yes. Sure. All right. So, guys, we can have a bit of conversation at the end as well. So, allow me to mute everyone. I'll walk through the presentation. Yes, the recording is happening. Okay. So, I'll also pass on the recording later on. But that doesn't mean that you should not attend the live class, because live is more engaging, and you can ask any question at the end as well. Okay. All right. So, as you see, this is our official website, and here is where we maintain all the curriculum and the time that we would be starting with. So, the PDF for all the 5 technologies are hosted here. You can go click this, download the PDF, read the content. So, we focus on 2 things. We focus on the official certificate topic, plus from the day-to-day network security point of view. That is practical, real time. Okay, so official certificate plus the real time scenarios. So I will cover all the things. I'll walk through all the lab presentation today, so you can see what all we have from the lab side, as well as what all we have from theory side, because there would be people who are starting this from very scratch. Might be you are from routing switching and now you want to jump into security, right? So we will start from scratch, and then we will increase the pace towards the advanced level. Okay. So the PDF for each module is here. Those guys who understand, most of them, they can download it. Some people may not understand what is Palo, or they just want to rely on us, and we take it from a scratch level. So you can rely on us, and from the day one, that is from next Saturday, we will go in a slower pace. Okay, so I'll start with very basic. What is firewall? Which OSI layer does firewall work? What is a ingress port? What is a egress port? So we will go with very scratch topic. Okay, and then we will increase the pace. These are some lab topology that we would discuss in the class. This is a lab topology for Cisco ASA firewall. Okay, and I'll also show you guys another link of ours which has more diagrams or topology diagrams. So we are maintaining separate lab diagrams for each vendor. Okay, the labs would be given to you, and you guys can practice on that. So this is the curriculum for Palo Alto, Cisco ASA FTD, Checkpoint, Fortigate, F5 load balancer, and this is what the topology I was talking about. So let me first take you to Palo Alto topology. Okay, so consists of multi Palo Alto for all your topics like VPN, the high availability, okay, the policy push, antivirus. So this is the topology we would maintain. Once this topology is being handled for 2 months, so see how it works is we will go with 1 to 1.5 month of coverage from our side, and the lab access would be given for 2 months. So you have 2 months of access for each module lab. You can practice. You can also create some scenarios of your own. You can plug and play with some more scenarios apart from this that we are providing, and this comes with all workbook, reading material. Okay, all the support would be given. This is for Cisco ASA FTD. This lab is for the FTD FMC part. This is for load balancer, F5 load balancer. This is going to be checkpoint. So someone was asking me about checkpoint. So this is for checkpoint. So we are covering R81, which is the highest and the latest version in the market. Though there is 82, R82, R83 also has been in standard, but always we prefer a code which is more stable. Okay, so R81 is something which we would cover. This is for Cisco ASA. And once you're done, once you have hands-on on each of the technology, we will provide you guys another lab, which is called the massive lab. Okay, and here you would recreate your real-time scenarios. So this lab topology consists of all the vendors in uh, one single lab topology. Okay, so you have all F5, FTD, Fortigate, Palo Alto. In case if you're interested to even do some sort of routing switching or some MPLS configuration, we will also let you give this in a scratch mode, so you can configure end to end yourself. If you don't want to do the routing switching part, we will give you the ready-made script, ready-made topology, and you can work on from the security point of view. Your choice. We have both these option for you. Okay, so someone who wants to do both of the thing, enterprise as well as security, go ahead, explore it. We will give the solution. You can just also follow it step by step and recreate the scenario. Okay, so when I say recreate the scenario, you can create VPN between two multi technologies. You can recreate issues like application not loading, or the servers are slow, or if you want to recreate some scenarios like HA failover, or if a site is isolated, how would you do have a failover between two different sites? So this can help you. Okay, so we will provide the access to this massive at the very end once you're done with all this individual lab. Okay, so until you know hands-on on each, this one is not gonna help you, because this is more like when you are done with 2 to 3 4 months of intense uh, work on the individual technology. Okay, so this is how it would be pipelined, and I was showing you the flow. So first we will start with Fortigate. We'll move to Palo Alto, Cisco ASFTD, then the load balancer, then the checkpoint, and then it's time for you to work on the massive topology. Okay, and yes, when I say massive topology, it is massive because for a single student it takes up to 120 GB RAM. Okay, so we have our own data center and we have hosted on the same data center. So we will provide you the access using some uh, simple VPN connectivity. You can connect to it and access the lab and practice it. Okay, so this is about in a wider picture how this whole batch of 5 module would look like. 5 plus 1 massive topology, total 6. But I would say 5 technology and the massive is your hands-on. Okay, so moving to the next slide, I'm gonna spend some time to understand what are we covering on each of the topic. Okay, so when we are going with a Palo Alto topic, as I told you, we focus on two things. One is the official blueprint and hands-on. So from official blueprint, PCNSA topics would be covered for Palo Alto. And the same curriculum is being put up here. This is the link towards the official blueprint. And from a hands-on practical, this is the PDF which I was instructing to download some time back. Okay, so our PDFs are here. This is from the institute side. This is from our side, which covers most of scenario-based topics. And from official blueprint, we would cover the official PCNSA course certificate. So those who wants to even prepare for your certificate, it's a combination of both. Okay, and what you get reading material, 20 plus of lab, 2 months of access to this Palo Alto lab, also assistance on home lab setup, all the self-paced recording, and also, yes, I would be covering the automation part. As you guys know, these days automation is everywhere. So I would do automation, Python automation, Ansible, and REST API for each of the module that I would be covering. So for Palo, I'll show the automation examples. I would show the automation example for FI, LTM. Same goes with the other technology as well. Okay, so these are all the topics that we have designed here so that you get some good value add-on from the whole curriculum. Okay, and at the end, as I was telling, the massive lab topology would be given once you're ready with all your previous 4 track. Okay, so that was for Palo Alto. This is the Palo Alto lab. These are the workbooks for each topic from Palo Alto. We have close to 9 here, and another 10-15 would be included while we take up the theory session. So more than 20-25 labs only for Palo Alto. Okay, and then we will move towards F5. The concept remains the same. We cover blueprint plus the hands-on. So from the certification point of view, this would touch 101, 201, which is LTM side. And what you get is all being documented here. Okay, this is the lab for F5. This is going to be the workbook that we provide for F5. Then we move to Cisco FTD. Someone who has never worked on FTD, I would say that first let's start with ASA. Okay, though ASA is end of life, not used anywhere, but still ASA is part of your CCI security even now. Cisco has not removed ASA from the CCI security. Okay, and FTD is built on top of ASA. So if you know ASA, you can catch up the concept of FTD very, very smoothly. Okay, so first we will do some topics from ASA and then we will move towards FTD. That is the next generation firewall here. Okay, I have put the official blueprint that we would be covering and the PDF on our website, and same process goes. The study material, lab practice, the automation part, Python, Ansible, REST API. This is the lab for Cisco FTD, FMC, and ASA. These are the workbooks. Okay, and this is for Fortigate. Fortigate, we are covering NSE4. These are the things that you would get when we start with the Fortigate module. This is the lab topology. These are some workbook, and some workbooks are included for the theoretical topics. This is for the checkpoint. As I told, nowadays you have R81 as well. So we are focusing on R81. And this is a CCSA certification. So if you're preparing for your checkpoint certification, this is a CCSA certification. This is the lab for checkpoint. Okay, all the topics would be covered here. Okay, so once we are done with the 5 module, which take easy 3 to 4 months, because this is a weekend batch, and every weekend we will have a session of 3 plus 3 hours, Saturday and Sunday, 3 plus 3 hours. So once we are done with 5 module, then we will jump towards the firewall mastery. Okay, and for this to work on this, you must know how the previous 5 technology works. Okay, the reason is I might put scenarios here. Okay, I would put a scenario that my application hosted on some XYZ data center is not working. Okay, so the scenario would be that your user is here, and this user is trying to access some URL. Okay, the URL, and in the backend you have some servers, and you receive an ticket saying that there is some issues happening, and the user is unable to access that particular URL. Okay, so now someone who has never joined this security tracks, you may not understand, or you may not know what is URL we call, or what are web servers. Okay, so that is why we will first prepare you for the first 5 module, and once you get into this, you would be much more familiar on what to do and how to troubleshoot. Okay, so let's say if user is here and the URL are not working, so how is the traffic actually getting passed? So we need to know how what is the traffic flow. So if I just draw it here, so this is the path for your traffic. Okay, and then F5, using the F5 load balancing algorithm, it has to pass it to one of the web server. Okay, now there is a firewall here, there is a firewall over here. There could be chances security policy might be not installed. Okay, or there is some sort of blocking happening. From the security side, I was talking. From enterprise side, let's say you are having OSPF advertised here on your LAN side. On your WAN side, you have BGP. Okay, you have MPLS over on the cloud. So if you want to troubleshoot from enterprise, you would do a lot of route table checks. You will see whether you have route towards the outgoing direction. Is your subnet seen in the routing table, right? So it's like you have to troubleshoot from step number 1 to step number 2. Okay, and then you have to figure out what the issue could be. If you want to troubleshoot only from security point, then we will fix the enterprise config. We will put all the routing and MPLS config on the topology, and we will just ask you to troubleshoot from security perspective. You can go to the firewall, check whether the policy is present or not, and just from security side you can you need to be bothered. But someone who wants to take both the challenge, enterprise plus security, then you guys feel free to configure end to end, and then we can see how the uh, challenges can be accepted, or how can we ignore or get avoided with those challenges. Okay, so I have tried to recreate the same issue in my lab. I will try to discuss that with you guys today. So the scenario is that user says that he's unable to access that URL. Okay, might be the URL is some IP like 192.168 something, which is a VIP. Now again, this VIP is a FI concept. If you're not sure, don't break your head. Once you get into the class, you will understand what is VIP, how do you configure, what does VIP do. Okay, so for now, just to show in the lab demonstration how the massive lab would work, I have recreated the issue. So user is trying to access URL, but he is unable to. Okay. So if I go back to my lab, so let's say this is a user and he just hit a URL and it just load and doesn't give anything to me. So something is not good. I have put all the enterprise config. Okay, so if you go to the routers, you should see all the configs kept. As I told you, we can now think from security side, not from enterprise. That's why I put all the enterprise config. Okay, so we can see all the route tables. It's moving to out. Okay, if you go and open up these node, which is in the service provider side, you can see once again all the MPLS been configured there. Okay, so meanwhile, let me open another router. So let's say show IP route. Okay, this is internal advertisement within the service provider. Since our routes are advertised on MPLS, we can go with MPLS labels. Okay, so you can see the MPLS labels and MPLS neighbors here. So even in the lab environment, we have configured, we have made sure that this looks like a real-time scenario for you guys. Okay, you go to firewall on this side. On the other side, you can see configs here. You can also see some access list. Okay, you can see the interface configuration. FI has its own graphical dashboard. This is the dashboard. Okay, so let's log into this. So first I would see that if my VIP is created or not. So this is the VIP URL 192.168.200.100, which I'm trying to access from the user side. Okay, so for some reason traffic might not be reaching to this due to routing issues, or could be some policy issue. So it might be breaking at the first point itself, right? Or might be this is not advertising, or all the incoming traffics might be getting dropped here, or this is not having a proper configuration to the backend server, right? So this is the normal day-to-day scenarios that we see, and you start capturing traffic, you start seeing taking the test traffic, right? You might run Wireshark, you might run the TCP dump to see whether traffic is passing through this, right? So we can start with some basic layer 2 layer 3 troubleshooting first to see if the URL traffic which the user is trying to hit on this is at least reaching to this or this or this, whether the traffic is then moving to this, or where exactly it's getting dropped. Okay, so if I open up the Dallas, if I try to refresh that, this is the first switch, layer 2 switch, which is nothing but this. I can just see a simple MAC address table. Okay, the MAC address should be pointing to this plus pointing to this. So that will show me that I see that two different entities are connected to the switch. Because sometimes what happens, if you have not put a proper config here, there is chances the MAC address will not show you one of the one of the host. Or if this is not having a proper gateway, even then this would look like disconnected. Okay, so we first start with some basic troubleshooting. I go to show MAC address table, press enter. Okay, so I see two MAC address. So one MAC address is of user and the other MAC address is of your ASA firewall. So it proves that my traffic is going till ASA now. Okay, so on ASA, if you know how to put a packet capture on ASA, you can apply the capture packet, and also you can see whether the traffic is trying to enter here or not. Okay, so if I say capture, you can just define a name to this, inside traffic question mark. Okay, so you'd definitely want to match the interface. Don't go with unmatched traffic, because the firewall will start collecting all the traffic from all the interface. So right now we are focusing on this particular, because user is this one. So we need to know whether traffic is reaching to us. So I would say that interface. Okay, so interface gig 0/1. Okay, so who is inside now? Let's check that. So that looks like inside. Okay, match the traffic. So this is a HTTP traffic, so it is a TCP type. Let's go with any to any. Okay, and then show capture inside traffic. Okay, so right now there is a zero traffic. Let's generate the traffic by having a refresh here, and let's see this. Okay, so let's also apply the Wireshark Capture here. Okay, so here's my Wireshark application. So let me regenerate the traffic. Okay, so you can see the traffic is entering ASA firewall. See, it's all SYN packet. So do you see the SYN packet? So when do you see the SYN packet? It is when user is sending on a one-way direction. Okay, it's sending the traffic, but on the other side, it don't hear any return traffic. Okay, there is no SYN ACK traffic right now. We only see the SYN traffic. So traffic is only traveling in one direction. So we see the traffic reaching ASA. I can also check whether the traffic is leaving from the router towards the MPLS cloud. Okay, so this is gig 0/1. Okay, so meanwhile, let me start the different Wireshark because it take 20 to 30 seconds. So let's start some more capture meanwhile. Okay. So let's say I have capture here, capture over here, then might be capture over here and here. Okay, so we see the complete path of that. So that's my MPLS. This is the border router on the other side. Okay, and let's say let's keep a capture on the load balancer as well. Okay, so now let's try to collect the traffic. So if I hit a test traffic from one side to another side, okay, so I see traffic from here, from this side. I can see the traffic is going in a SYN direction again. Okay, see there is a SYN traffic. There is a SYN traffic on the other side border router. On F5, do we have something? See, on F5 also we have a SYN traffic. Okay, so you can see the fresh traffic. So in our scenario, the network security administrator would check all the security policy. Might be if he is a routing switching engineer, he would check all the routing table, and then he is in a conclusion to say that traffic is coming till this part. Okay, and then he's not sure. Might be he's not a F5 administrator. Okay, so that is why we have clubbed firewall with one of LTM, because this is most of the time the scenario is this, when where the companies look for a engineer who knows both of the tech skill set, firewall and a load balancer. Okay, so now as a load balancer administrator, he will log into this F5. He will check all the basic config. Okay, or let's say if he has access to the CLI, he can apply TCP dump. Or let's say in the lab, I can just now quickly just show you might be the outgoing traffic via the capture. Okay, so until this come up, let's initiate one more test packet. See here, this was supposed to be the in traffic for F5. You have traffic reaching till here. Okay, and then when you applied a Wireshark over here, you don't see any ping traffic. So that means F5 is breaking your traffic flow. Okay, it is not any security policy, neither it's your routing or switching concept. It's pure F5 which is breaking your traffic. Okay, so now you can check the config on F5 LTM. You can see all the pools, if it's configured in a right way, the members are listening. Okay, you can also go and check the VLANs. Okay, so there could be chance that the field engineer might have plugged the wrong cables. Okay, so the cable over on this might be connected wrongly, and that is the reason F5 is breaking. So you come to conclusion when you see that all configs are good, servers, there is a reachability. You can check that reachability, whether F5 has a ping reachability to backend server or not. Let me show you that. So take the CLI of it. Okay, and then you can initiate the traffic to backend server. Okay, let's see what is the IP here. Okay, yeah. So see that this is also breaking, right? So there could be reasons now. So there could be a layer 1 reason. Okay, like cable not connected properly, or might be you configured some VLAN on a different interface, right? So what we will do is we will change the cable now. So we can do it from the dashboard itself. So let's say that internal VLAN, that is nothing but internal interface, might not be necessary. Or let's first fix the external VLAN. Okay, so let's say that this interface might be not the right one. Okay, so I'll get this changed. I'll update this. I'll go to another VLAN, that is the inside facing interface. And then let's say this could also have some issue. Okay, I'm just assuming now because we have some clues appearing to us. So let's say add this, update it. Okay, now I can try giving the ping. Oh yeah, see, now the backend servers are reachable. The moment you connected the proper interface to the backend server, you have the ping reachability working. Okay, and the traffic which was trying to enter but was not able to enter, we have also fixed the interface there. So let's see, let's try to do end-to-end testing by generating a packet. See, it's already started resolving here. So if you do a test traffic now, see, it is going to the application now. Okay, these are the web servers, 3 different web servers. Okay, so this is how the whole curriculum would be. It's more hands-on. Okay, and as I told you, if you want to focus on security side, you go with that. If you want even to do the routing switching, then feel free to do that. Okay, and scenarios that you would expect here. Okay, because I'm gonna give you scenarios here which you have to solve. So one solution, one problem that I recreated now was application not working. You might have seen this being a very frequent issue. So what normally happens in enterprise in any company is there would be a lot of teams. There could be a team for firewall. They will check something, then they say that this is not our issue. They might push it to a routing and switching team. They being having a knowledge of only routing switching, they will do some test and then they will pass it to F5. The F5 will also try to put it on another person. He might say that it's to the server side. I don't see any config issue with my side, right? So this is why enterprise or uh, the data center engineers, they look for someone who knows basic on most of the thing, who can do a basic troubleshooting on most of them. Or even you, if you are aware of the things, you can narrow down the issues on the same technical call or the priority one call if there is any call going on. Okay, so what else issue we can see? We can configure multi-vendor VPNs. Again, this is a usual scenario for consultant or engineers. They usually get on one side the firewalls like Paloalto, and on the other side might be Fortigate or Checkpoint. Okay, and the ask is to put a IPsec VPN tunnel working. Now, a limited knowledge will always keep a dependency. If you know the things you can do it yourself. FI LTM, okay, very, very important. So things here like the web building, the profiles, okay, might be the I rules. Okay, so profile itself is a huge thing. Okay, and the second thing that you see for FI is the application performance. Okay, this is something where a lot of time you will apply the TCP dump and start capturing. Okay, you would have to inspect why the application is slow, how would you fix it. Okay, and rest of the things like routing switching would be covered in from the firewalls point of view, because all the firewalls or even the LB has its own routing table. So we have to enable OSPF BGP on those network security appliance as well. Okay, so you will get some hands-on on routing switching if you have not been using it for a long time. Okay. Okay, so if you see this portion is for checkpoint. This portion is completely Palo. This is for Fortigate. This is ACE and FTD. Okay. So if you want to deploy a VPN connectivity between two of them, you can try that. Okay, so this is how the scenarios would be built on the massive lab topology. And one simple example, we saw it today. And if you would ask me how much configuration it needs, so I have built on my notepad some time back. So I would be also giving you this type of solution. Okay, so on the switch one, all the layer 2 config. On the firewall, all the layer 3 interface config, the policies, OSPF protocol, static route. This is the router config. Okay, this is all MPLS cloud configuration. And this was the config on the other side, the edge router, the ASA firewall. Okay, and the FTD is a dashboard concept. So whatever config you will see here, it will be taken and given in a step by step mode, so you can do it yourself as well. All right, so let me move further, because now I believe you know how the thing should be. So guys, any question, please let me know. You can also use the chat window in case if you want to drop any queries. You want to see the output of something, I can show you that. So any doubt so far? Are we good? Are you following me? Yes, no, yes, no. Okay, so you want to speak? Okay, fine. Go ahead.
Yeah, you have told about like the Postman, Ansible, or all those things.
Yes,
So
yes.
how you can define in this scenario, like the troubleshooting which we did right now? Because first thing, sometimes we directly ask the application team, is the application working locally by creating the local host record instead of going through, if it is a working URL, directly we can test it in that way as well at the troubleshooting.
Okay, so see, if you are thinking from automation side, so all the basic troubleshooting, L1, L2 troubleshooting, you can write on your Python script itself. Okay, so like you want to fetch MAC address table, you want to fetch routing table, you want to fetch the routing table here, you want to apply any capture, so you can all do it automated. So now I have to click multiple nodes to open the CLI, run the command. Whereas with the automation script, we can do it, we can pull it in a notepad, we can compare, and then we can see how can we fix the issues. Okay. So Z, I'm not sure your real name. So Mr. Z. So we are using all the updated version on all the technology. Okay. So don't worry about any OS version. They are all running on the latest version. So the Palo Alto is actually on 10. For the big IP is on 16.x. Okay. So they are all on the latest version, as I was telling in the beginning as well. So guys, any doubt? Did anyone miss out the scenario, or someone who have never seen such scenario in your networking career? Have you seen this sort of issues occurring?
Yes.
Okay. Okay. So this was about the lab, and I hope I cleared your doubt. So let me go to the next slide. Who can join? So anyone who is from NOC, L1, L2, L3, or from a routing switching scenario, if you want to get into the security side, okay, or you have a basic CCNA knowledge, you can enroll this. Okay, but make sure you are at least a CCNA, so you know what is IP address or routing or etc etc, because I would not be explaining you the IP address or what is router, because I expect you would know that. Okay, so I'll pre-assume that you would start from uh, the firewall knowledge, okay, not from the routing switching. All right, so do you guys know what is Gartner report? How many know what is Gartner report? Okay, so I'll just tell you what does that mean. Okay, so let me just draw it here. I hope you guys know what is X and Y axis, right? So let's say if I have a X and Y axis drawn in this way, okay, so I would call this as okay, so let's say okay, so let me draw the quadrants here. So this graph x-axis is on basis of completion of vision, okay, and the y-axis is over on the ability to execute, okay. And Gartner is a team or a company who are into the analysis or the market analysis. So how do they come up with such graph is they talk to a lot of client, they do the analysis, okay, and they do a lot of analysis for all the technologies, not only on the firewall, like routers, who are the top leaders here in the firewall segment, who are the leaders here in the CCTV or any vendor or any sort of domains. But I would be focusing on the firewalls because we are going with the network security. Okay, so there are 4 division here. This is leaders. This would be challengers. This is niche players. and this is visionaries. So this is the lowest one, lowest in segment, whereas this is the top leaders. Okay, so this is first, this is second, this is third, and this is fourth. And each quadrant is divided on the basis of the milestone. If the company is meeting the expectation, or the product development, or the AI ML, artificial intelligence, or if they are adding the automation. So on basis of that, a survey is conducted and they divide it into 4 quadrants. Okay, so if you see the track record, this graph was from the August 2021, and you see these are the leaders here. These vendors are leaders. Okay, so Palo, 40, Checkpoint, and Cisco is here. So challenges are something who are the most challenging to the leaders. They in the next quarter they might also be found here. Okay, or sometimes you see some coming back to this if they start losing the track from the milestones. Okay, so from the last graph, these are the technology, and these are all technology we cover in this curriculum. Okay, in this 5 module. And if you go back like 2020, so again these are some. Okay, so for last couple of years, like close to 10 years, you will see these are heavily used in almost all the region worldwide. Okay, and if you go back to a very long time back, like let's say this is a graph of, I think, in 90s or something. Okay, so in 90s, you see Palo was here in the 3rd quadrant. So you had Juniper. Now Juniper is completely out. Okay, so you had Checkpoint, you had 40, you had Cisco, and Palo was completely down. But now it's in the leader segment. Okay, so thinking all this, we are planned with Palo, Fortigate, Checkpoint, Cisco, ASA, FTD. Okay, and load balancer is not this segment, so don't expect the big IP to be visible in this quadrant, but it's a load balancer, which is again a most demanded technology we are counting in this particular curriculum. Okay, so this is how the 5 programs would be conducted. All right, so some questions to you guys if you have already worked. What is firewall? So anyone who is here who doesn't know what is firewall? Let me unmute. So those guys who are fresher, who are not sure, you guys can yes, guys. So give me your interpretation for what is firewall. It can be right or wrong, doesn't matter. Okay.
It's a network device that will typically block all traffic unless you allow specifically the traffic to pass through.
Yes. So firewall is a network component or a network device which has a 100% blocking ratio. So all the traffic by default are blocked. Okay. And how do you allow it? That is by using the ACL concept. So you can say, I want to permit this host to this host, and you allow it. Otherwise, let's say you have host which is connected to a switch. Okay. And you have a firewall which is connected to different host. So in the scenario 1, this has 100% pass ratio. So traffic are set to be passed on. Okay, there is no blocking happens in access in router or switches until you apply some ACL. You can apply ACLs on the interface saying I don't want to receive something, or you can block it saying I don't want to allow any port 80 traffic. So by adding some ACL, you can block the traffic. Otherwise, by default, it is set to pass the traffic. Whereas ACL by default, it is 100% block. Okay, and the only way is you will allow the traffic. Okay, there are concepts like by default the traffic would be allowed inside to inside, or a inside to a higher or a lower, from a higher security level to a lower security level. All those things are are available. Okay, so we will see in which vendor what happens. So every vendor has their own concept. We call in some vendor security level. Okay, security level 0 or 100. We call untrust, trust. Okay, we call inside, outside. We also call ingress, egress. But the concept remains the same. It's just the terminology between vendors. We might use one of them, but the concept still remains the same. If it is firewall, it's meant to be deny all the traffic, but you can add ACL, allow it. Okay, so this is one thing about the firewall. So which layer does firewall work?
I think next generation firewalls works on the layer 7.
Okay, and a normal,
Uh,
regular firewall.
Some of them work at layer 3 and layer 4.
Okay, so a regular firewall which work on basis of the ACL concept, or on a layer 4 logic, layer 3 and layer 4. Okay, one best example, if you know, is ASA firewall. Okay, and when it comes to next generation firewall, it is supposed to work between layer 3 to layer 7. Okay, even the application layer. Examples are Paloalto, Fortigate, Checkpoint, FTD. So these are all the difference about from the OSI perspective. Okay, and firewalls can be divided into different categories on the basis of how it works. Okay, so this was one of the method of categorization basis on OSI layer. I can also put down in another way the category of how of firewall, how it works. Okay, so one category I can think about is, let's say, a simple packet filtering category. So in this, what happened? A traffic is received at ingress. It will check the source IP, destination IP, and then it makes the decision. So a very basic of a firewall. Okay, which is packet filtering. A bit advanced, where you expect firewall work on basis of some TCP check also, or it makes some three-way handshake and then it check the source and then destination. Then you have some circuit level gateway firewalls. Okay, so circuit level firewalls work in conjunction with packet filtering firewall. So I can say that in conjunction with the previous one. They cannot run on themselves. They need a regular firewall, and on top of that, it can do the TCP checks or TCP inspection. As soon as you move further, you will see that this both are having some down limit. You need a better firewall. Then you can think about a stateful inspection firewall. Okay. Now what happens here is it don't allow or it don't deny just by seeing uh, the IPs. It will see the port number. It will see the IP. It will also make some smart decision whether the traffic was already originated. Then it will keep a record. If the traffic comes for the same record, it's gonna allow it. Okay, so it's called a stateful inspection. There are firewalls which are stateless, which doesn't keep a track, and in that firewall you need to have bidirectional policies. So even for a written traffic, you have to keep the bidirectional. But examples like ASA, Palo, these are all stateful. So you allow one-way direction, a traffic coming back to the same. It doesn't need one more rules to be allowed for that. And apart from that, it will track, it will monitor, it will see the port number, it will see the IP address. But there could be chances that nowadays the packet are also containing the malicious code. Okay, which cannot be handled by stateful examples like Cisco ASA. So in this case, you need something called next generation firewall. Okay, and here is where all your Palo Alto, Fortigate, FTD. So this all firewall are examples of next generation, which has a concept of deep packet inspection, which has the inbuilt antivirus to check. It has the profiles for malicious activities. It also have the concept of wildfire, okay, which can talk to the cloud of these vendors. Let's say Wild in Palo Alto, it will talk to the cloud. It will see whether that particular application has a valid trusted signature or not, and on that basis of it, it can take a conclusion whether I need to allow this packet or I have to drop this packet. Okay, so we will check the packet flow of each one of them. You might, if you know the packet flow or flow of ASA, it just consists of some ACL, okay, NAT, layer 3, layer 2, maximum to maximum. But when it comes to this next generation firewall, the packet flow goes through lot of engines. Okay, so in Palo Alto there are so many engines here. Even FTD has two different engines which process the packet, and goes same with the FortiGate and checkpoint as well. Okay, so it goes to all the blocks to make necessary check before it's been decided to allow or not. So this is how firewalls are divided in terms of categories. And as you guys already told, some people are already worked on FortiGate or Palo Alto. Some may not have worked. So for you guys, I'll start with the scratch for how the packet flow or the happens for each vendor. Okay, so when we are going with the class, we take one module first, cover up, then we go to second. But on the each module, we try to distinguish between one to other, how Palo is different than FTD or how FTD is different than Forti, so that you know the difference between each. Okay, so guys, do you have any questions, any doubt? I think it's time, and we will connect tomorrow.
Okay.
Yeah, go ahead.
Next gen firewall also support SSL decryption.
Yes, it will also
So,
support SSL.
so can you please elaborate more SSL decryption, how normal traffic go encrypted and how SSL decryptions work?
Yeah, sure. So we'll take this in the classes. Okay, we have all this topic in the class itself. This is a demo class. It's not a class today. Okay, and if I start with that, it will take 1 hour for us to complete that. Okay.
Sure. Thank you so much.
Yeah, so we have a agenda for tomorrow. So tomorrow I'm gonna talk about the Palo Alto. Okay, Palo Alto architecture, Palo Alto packet flow, Palo Alto dashboard walkthrough. So if you guys have never seen a Palo Alto from a closer view, I'll show it tomorrow. I'll complete, or I'll show you some topics from Palo Alto tomorrow. Okay. So this is the agenda, and the bridge ID is the same which we have used today. So you guys will connect on the same bridge and get into the meeting. Okay. So it's the same time, 6:30 p.m. India.
Can we
Uh,
get something with automation as well? Little bit intro. Just
Okay, so if you want some automation to be shown tomorrow, I'll cover up that as well. Okay. So two topics tomorrow. Might be I'll show you automation between these two only. Palo Alto and the automation concept. Okay.
Hey, Sagar.
Yes, go ahead.
Uh, uh, my question is different to this topic. Probably is it good to chat you over the LinkedIn or send you message over the LinkedIn? That will work for you.
Yes, you can actually reach out to the contact which our backend has given, or you can email us directly.
Sure.
So you can just reach out to this. Okay.
Okay. Thanks.
Okay, I have a question.
Yes, go ahead.
So, see, you are running the labs in EVNG. So
Yes.
if students in this class and have their own EVNG at home, is it possible to get some of the images for these firewall applications?
Yes, that's right. So we will help you with the home lab setup as well. Okay, so we'll help you on the home lab setup on your machine. But yes, you must have a good resource, at least 16 plus minimum. Labs like FTD will go up to 64 GB. Okay, labs like 40 and Palo ASA 16 to 32 is good. And the massive will need at least 100 plus GB. So I hope I answered your doubt.
Yes.
Yeah, this will need more than 100 GB. So you can rely on our lab, or if you have enough resource, we can help you to deploy.
Okay.
How many of you have worked on Ansible automation for any security devices?
I have worked on the routers and switches just to deploy the code.
Okay, so tomorrow when I will be working on automation side, so I'll show you some Ansible methods to deploy the playbooks and for configuration of the security policies and all those things. Okay, just an example, guys. This is just a demo today and tomorrow. We are not going in depth of any topic, but it's a broad view of what you get once you enroll to this. Okay. Any doubt, guys? Any doubts? So our backend has given the contact details. Please email or WhatsApp for the enrollment process. Those guys need one more class for making the decision. So join me tomorrow. I'll walk through the Palo Alto architecture, packet flow, dashboard walkthrough, and the automation Ansible and the Python Ansible. I can also show you some API for Palo Alto. Okay. Yes, for pricing and all those things, guys, please talk to the backend. So they will guide you better than me, because I don't have any answer for pricing. So they are the one who decide, and for all discount
Is
and
the
all
Palo
those things,
Alto
you just go ahead. Yeah, go ahead.
is the Palo Alto notes will be provided?
See, we provide all the notes in a PDF format and workbook for all the technologies. Okay, so all the materials are provided along with the modules. All right, so guys, I have a class in another 10 minutes. It's my usual automation class, which I start 8 p.m. and it's only 10 minutes left. So if there is no doubt, So we'll connect tomorrow. If you are made up mind to enroll to this, go back, ping those email ID, WhatsApp, which is on the chat. Okay, if in case you are traveling, then I'll put up on my screen. You can take a quick snap of it. Yeah, so those guys who want to take a quick click of this, please take this. So guys who are pursuing your CCNA, you can still join this. No harm. You can learn the technology. Okay, because here we don't go in depth of like IP or subnet. We just make sure that you know the components, like you know what is router, or you know you are a bit prepared with your basic CCNA. But we don't say you need to be expert in CCNA. And if you have a bit on work experience, 6 months or 1 year, that is fine. Okay, you can enroll to the security concept. It's the right time for you to upgrade from routing switching to the security side. And yes, also as I was busy showing you this, we have at least 10 to 15 scenarios here. Okay, so if you have some scenario which you would like to recreate on this, you can give us and we will try to recreate, and then we can work on the discussion. Okay, and also those guys, in case if you are in Bangalore and want to visit our institute, then you can also do that. Our institute is open here in Bangalore. You can visit it. Okay, so here you will get more number of lab access. You can just practice at your pace. For others, we give it unlimited lab online. Okay, and each rack, each module, you will have at least 2 months. So pretty much lot of time you have to practice any module. Yes, the Zoom link is same, no change. We keep the same Zoom link for 2 days. So use the same Zoom and you can attend it. So any doubt, guys? Any question? All right, so I'll wrap up for now. It was a nice interactive session with you all. I hope you had a good time here. You liked the presentation. So if you have any questions for me, you can contact our backend or you can write back over on the email ID. Okay, have a nice day. Thank you, everyone.